what did you expect to see in the service prior to it. So something that I expected prior to it was for there to be a lot more meditation than there was. I just always pictured, because Buddhism really tells you to seek within yourself and look within for answers, I really thought that the service would incorporate a lot more meditation, and it did not, which leads into the next question. Did your experience match with what you were expecting? And no, because of the whole meditation thing. They did meditate for like the first few minutes of the service, and I thought that was really interesting how, you know, they took time out of the service and they told the people watching or those in the worship room to just take a moment to, you know, put your phone away, to distract yourself from the exterior world and really look within and focus on your breathing. And I thought that was really cool. Not a lot of religions tell you to do that or suggest for you to do that, and I think it's something that's really important for us to do as human beings. You know, we have so many distractions around us in this world that it's good to, you know, from time to time reflect on who you are as a person within, and just take a deep breath, you know. Something else that stood out from the worship service was that at some point throughout the service, I think it was after the meditation, the monk took time to remember those who had passed within the last month. And I thought that was really interesting because he went through a whole list of people who had passed away, and then after he had mentioned that list, he said, let us take time to send these people off and wish them good luck in whatever their future may hold. And I thought that was interesting because he kind of spoke about them as if they were still living. And I know that Buddhists believe in reincarnation and, you know, the afterlife. So I thought that how he referred to these people who had passed away was really interesting. And lastly, what was your main takeaway from this experience? I think that Buddhism in general, learning from it in class and then watching the service, is a very peaceful religion. I really enjoy how they tell their believers and guide them into really focusing on their inner self and growing from what they learn, and, you know, really making that connection with your soul, and doing things that you really enjoy doing while still remaining at peace with who you are and where you are in life. And I think that that's essential. Although I am not Buddhist and I don't have Buddhist beliefs, but I think that that is extremely essential in life, to really focus on your desire and who you are within in order for you to thrive and be happy in this life.
So my expectations were of the worship service that we all watched online were a lot of singing, a lot of prayer, and a lot of reading of the hymns. My expectations were met, and what stood out to me the most was the fact that they all started the service off with kind of like a meditation in a way, where they told everyone, you know, kind of clear your minds, focus on your breathing, you know, feet flat on the floor, almost kind of like you're taking a blood pressure reading, which is very relevant in my line of work. So I found that very interesting. And I feel like everyone can kind of benefit from that, you know, starting your day with waking up, stretching, and, you know, kind of clearing your mind, taking a deep breath, and just kind of focusing on that. I feel like that would be very beneficial for everybody to start their day that way. And my takeaway from all of this is the fact that I learned so much, thankfully, from my friend that was raised Buddhist. She had a lot of insight, answered a lot of questions that I had, was very open about it, and I very appreciated that a lot, because she definitely did help all of us a lot with this. And I feel like they have like one of the most peaceful religions that I've had the pleasure of experiencing. And I hope to take some meditation and take some of that from it, and hopefully incorporate it in my daily life.
Prior to the service, I didn't really have an idea of what I was going to experience. I had an English that it was going to be colorful and very vibrant, and my expectations were met in that aspect because there was various hues of golds, topazy colors, as well as reds, and that met my expectations. But regarding the entirety of the service, I didn't have much to lean on, so I didn't make any expectations for that. But the few things that did stood out for me were the portraits as well as the shrines. Those were very intricate and very beautiful, and they were just mesmerizing to look at. And a huge takeaway would be the singing. I didn't really think that singing would be involved in the worship, but it was, and it was very unexpected and beautiful. I don't know why I was taken aback by the fact that they incorporated song into their service. I guess I was not expecting it to be so similar to my own religion in that aspect, but the usage of their song throughout the service and their hymns, if you will, was very familiar to me, and it reminded me a lot of my own religion, which I thought was very surprising and very beautiful. And the fact that although I didn't understand what these hymns were about or what language they were spoken in, it kind of transcended through my own religion, and I felt like I was home in that aspect of it.
I expect to see prior to the worship service, I expected more like a Buddhist monk type of thing. I had it pictured in my head like the outfit, like the red and yellow outfit. I expected to see more than one person. I expected to see more like somebody else singing or chanting. And did my experience match my expectations? No, it did not, because it was just one person. The sensei was there the whole time. And like, I'm Catholic, so I can say that it compared a lot to my religion because of like the chants. Like, we pray together, we sing together, and like we how I would say that I would listen to the priest talk, like they would listen to the sensei talk about the Dharma and read verses about like all that stuff. And what stood out to me about the service, I'd say the chants stood out to me the most, because it was like most of the service they was like singing the chants, and he was just talking for like 15 minutes. So 40 minutes was like the chants, and then 15 minutes he just spoke. And what was my main takeaway from this experience? My main takeaway would be how much like the religions do compare to each other. Like how I said that I could compare my religion and Buddhism together because of the services, how we practice it.
What did you expect or experience prior to attending the worship service? I expect a lot of meditations and decorated shrines and quietness, because I remember when I was traveling to Vietnam with my family for about 2 years ago, and we went to see this famous Buddhist temple, and the shrines there were like filled with decorations, and the room being filled with incense, and people going there to meditate in peace. So that's my expectations. Did your experience match with their expectations? My experience with the service definitely matched with my expectations, because it's very similar to the one I had visited in Vietnam. What stood out to you from the worship service? What stood out to me the most was the golden shrine and the priest chanting, which I believe was him reciting the Buddha vows. And the singing at the end was very peaceful. What was your main takeaway from this experience? My main takeaway was the priest being positive and open-minded when he was sharing his personal stories, and him teaching us to share love and compassion to one another so that everyone can live their life in peace.
How or when do you worship? Buddhists usually pray daily, not at any certain time, but you listen to the prayer read out loud by the monks. What does your daily diet consist of? Is it restricted as to what you can and cannot have?
So, every full moon, Buddhists go vegan for at least one day. Going meatless gives you blessings. Because reincarnation and whatnot, you go meatless. And the longer you go meatless, the stronger your prayer is, and you are blessing. Other than that, you can eat whatever you want. Monks, on the other hand, will never eat meat once they are part of the temple. Also, around a loved one's passing, you go vegan because for 7 weeks, their soul wanders and you pray for them to find peace. You also wear white to show mourning.
Is there a daily or worship dress code?
You want to be covered when praying. You can wear regular shoes, but because of sitting and praying facing Buddha, you want to cover yourself. Pants and long sleeves and shoes off.
Do you have to cover your head like Islam or just all of your body?
No, just body is fine. The only time you cover your head is when a loved one is passed, and that is who you are there praying for. You basically wear a plain white cloth around your head and just tie in the back. You only wear it if the person who has passed is older than you. If you are younger than the person who has passed, then you do not wear anything.
What is a worship service like?
2 hours of praying. It's not like a Bible study where it is set in stone. What Buddhists read from has to do with what's current and who and what is being prayed for.
Have you or your family faced discrimination being Buddhist?
No, thankfully, if anything, it's curiosity about it because everyone around me was either Catholic or Christian.
What is or are key principles to live by?
Just be a good human being. Live with peace and harmony with each other and with nature so that when you move into the next life, you are reincarnated into something beautiful and not like a tree stump. When I say nature, it's because when my great-grandmother passed, her plants that she grew died with her, and the monks won't even kill a fly.
Are there any symbols, and if so, what do they symbolize?
I've seen what looks like a swastika, and I know it has a very negative and terrible meaning of it because of Hitler, but it's an opposite in Buddhism. For us, it means a peace and good luck.
Do kids worship differently from adults, and if so, how?
Kids don't unless their parents can get them to stay still. Prayer is taken seriously, so kids are expected to behave and be quiet. Most of them don't really understand what is being said, so they just go and play. Children don't typically attend the worship services though.
Buddhism practices today. Is it more modern, contemporary, or by the founding ways?
It's more modern. Like at one point you couldn't have eggs if you were going vegan. Now you can. Speaking of food, whatever you have on your plate, you should finish and never waste food. It's considered bad luck.
What is the role of women and children in the religion?
Well, when it's the anniversary of a loved one that's passed, the women cook a variety of dishes, light incense, and pray. You have to wait until the incense is done before you can start eating. Women are usually more willing to go longer as vegan for the bigger blessing for their family. Children will most likely just be there for prayer, not necessarily reading along like everyone else. It's almost like the blessing falls on the woman because women are typically more responsible in making sure things go smoothly on those days.
What holidays do you celebrate? The biggest is Lunar New Year. Vietnam itself has adapted American holidays like Halloween and Christmas. Lunar New Year is more of celebrating with family and friends, where there is music everywhere, older relatives giving younger ones red envelopes that contain money, fireworks, food everywhere. Decorating with lights, gambling is basically just a big party. It's a 3-day event. In Vietnam, school is out for 2 weeks to celebrate. People close their businesses and you cook traditional dishes. What all does a funeral entail? It consists of a lot of praying. At the funeral home, you can set up 2 different tables. Once the monks have prayed over it, you're not allowed to move the tables, otherwise it will disturb the soul. One table has Buddha, who you pray to guide your loved ones on the other side. The other table is the loved one's picture, food, and tea. When someone passes, their soul wanders for 49 days, so you do a lot of praying in those 49 days. At the funeral home, me and my sister had to pray for our sister whom had just passed. I had to put the food in the bowl and ask her to come home and eat so that she won't be hungry on the other side. Then had to fill the teacups 3 times. We did that for the 2 days she was at the funeral home. On the second day, also the day of her cremation, after the prayer, me and my sister had to walk with the monks with the late sister's picture and the incense holder as she was being pushed to the cremation room. We were told specifically to not put the incense holder or her picture down. We were not allowed to put them down until we got to the temple, which would be her resting place. Had we put her picture or incense holder down at any time before we were allowed, her soul could have been lost. Once we got to the temple, we prayed for Buddha to accept her and guide her. Then for the next 7 weeks, we were there every Sunday for her. It's most important to be there on the first Sunday of the 49 days and the last Sunday, and then again on the 100th day of passing.